This is how the Labour Party wanted to appear on the dawn of conference, united. Instead, the Labour leader faced a media scrum and one very awkward question.
Tom Watson have your backing?
Tom Watson is the deputy leader of the party, and I enjoy working with him.
He says he enjoys working with Tom Watson, but before Jeremy Corbyn got here, members of the National Executive Committee had already arrived, some plotting to abolish the role of deputy leader.
Oh, I think it'll blow over, but it's not helpful.
Do you think it's going to overshadow the whole of conference now?
No.
Manoeuvres started last night. By this morning, mounting outrage, rumours of resignations and party splits. Cue a climb down.
So the NEC is in their meeting at the moment, and news has just come through that instead of voting to delete the post of deputy leader, they are now going to review the post after mounting pressure from former leaders, many MPs and many party activists. Was it bottled? Was the coup bottled?
Andy Kerr is a union boss on the NEC.
What about yourself? Were you in favour of removing the post of deputy leader?
He didn't seem keen on answering questions about the climb down.
But your union members might wish to know how you feel about the deputy leader of the Labour Party.
If I forget to say to my union members, I'll have a good discussion with them. I certainly wouldn't do it through you.
He wasn't the only one keen to avoid answering questions. The Shadow Home Secretary also sits on the NEC.
Conference hasn't even started yet. You're already at war with one another.
That's your story, Labour at war. No, we are going to have a great conference.
Miss Abbott, can you really unite the country if you can't really unite the party?
We're very confident that we can unite the country. Jeremy gets a great reception wherever he goes, in England, Scotland.
But at the moment, conference hasn't even started, and all the headlines are about disunity in the party.
That's the media story.
Does Tom Watson have your backing?
He's the elected deputy leader. Everyone backs him.
Not a straight yes. What about veteran union leader Len McCluskey?
Are you livid that the coup to oust Tom failed?
Of course I'm not. I know nothing about a coup. And Jeremy has put a statement out, and there we are. The issue's resolved.
So does Tom Watson have your full backing?
Jeremy Corbyn has my full backing, and I would urge...
What about the deputy leader, Tom Watson? Does he have your full backing?
I would urge Tom Watson to give the leader his full backing.
And if he can't do that?
For the man who survived, though, a hero's welcome to Brighton this afternoon.
Mr. Watson, what do you make of the foiled plot against you?
Well, I think it's very sad.
Do you think Jeremy Corbyn knew about this plot last night?
I don't know what Jeremy knew and didn't know, but I'd like to.
The leader says he had no idea about any of this. You're a former chair of the NEC. Do you think that holds water?
I wouldn't claim that the man is not telling the truth as far as he knows it, but if that's right, then it makes the management of the party look even more peculiar.
So the leader should know about this?
Yes, if the leader should know about it and wasn't told about it, that's even a bigger disgrace, it seems to me.
Where's Jeremy Corbyn, they sing outside the conference hall. Thousands of protesters taking to the streets to demand a people's vote. Frontbencher Emily Thornby front and centre of the rally. This is the split in the party many believed would dominate conference. Instead, the plotters within the party have beaten them to it.
Well, earlier I spoke to the chairman of the Labour Party, Ian Lavery. I asked him if today's row showed that Jeremy Corbyn had lost control.
Jeremy definitely didn't lose any control. He wasn't at the meeting last night.
So he knew about the motion then?
Well, I didn't say that. I'm not sure if Jeremy knew about that motion or not. That's something you would have to ask Jeremy. Jeremy wasn't at the meeting. But what Jeremy did this morning, he brought the NEC together and he put a statement forward, and it was agreed by the NEC that we'll have this review. So we need to draw a line under that, and we need to get on to the real issues at this conference, the real problems facing the people in this country, and that's austerity and the way that it's impacted on the lives of millions of people.
Well, Tom Watson says this was a drive-by shooting. Yvette Cooper says it was completely mad. Tony Blair, destructive sectarianism. You're having a civil war in your party within weeks of a general election. You should be turning your fire on the Tories, shouldn't you?
There isn't any civil war within the party because an individual might have put forward a motion under the rules and the constitution of the Labour Party. What civil war? Because there was a motion put forward. Jeremy came forward this morning within 12 hours and sorted the situation out. Tom Watson is still the deputy leader of the Labour Party and will be for the future. Obviously.
Hanging by a thread after he's hanging by a thread after last night.
He's hanging by a thread. His position is exactly the same as what it was this time yesterday.
What is it that people have got against Tom Watson?
I think, to be honest, I think there are a sizable chunk of people out there, members of the party, who are sharing frustrations about the fact that Tom might not be supporting Jeremy the way he possibly should do, the way that he did say at the beginning of his tenure of office. And I think that's flooding out, and I think there are those frustrations. But listen, we're a democratic organisation, grassroots, members-led organisation, and what we've got to do under any circumstances is make sure that whatever decisions are made including everybody within the party.
The main point of contention here, you've clashed with Tom Watson over Brexit. Given that the vast majority of Labour Party members want to remain in the EU, why is the party leadership still equivocating all these years on from the referendum?
I haven't clashed with Tom Watson. Tom Watson and I have disagreed on Brexit.
Okay.
You and I
might
disagree on Brexit, but we're not clashing. We've got a difference of view. And listen, the whole country's divided on Brexit. So that isn't any clashes. But what Jeremy...
You're fond of Tom Watson, are you?
Tom Watson's been a friend of mine for a whole number of years. And we'll continue to challenge each other. That's the democratic process.
Right, so you're challenging each other on Brexit. Yeah. Why is the party leadership still equivocating on Brexit years after the referendum?
You know what? Reporter after reporter continually says that the issue is being fudged and that the Labour Party hasn't got a clear view. The Labour Party's view on Brexit is absolutely clear. We'll negotiate a withdrawal agreement. We'll then see the details of that negotiated deal, and then, well, the only party, by the way, the only Democratic Party who have said we put this back to the people, and that's what the Labour Party will do.
And in the general election,
we'll put
the leadership,
a credible leave option.
Okay. But in that general election that you want, the leadership will be saying, actually, I don't know whether we're for remain or leave.
Well, you're assuming that we might make a decision of that nature, which could be months and months ahead. That's not correct.
That's what you're saying. You'll do a one-day special conference.
What I'm saying is that it's only reasonable and sensible, if we have a negotiations in Brussels like we want, a Labour Party leave option, which is something that I would support if it was right. We need to see everything on the table before we would make a decision whether we'd be supporting remain or whether we would be supporting a credible leave option.
Ian Lavery, thank you very much. Well, last night's move dismayed supporters of Tom Watson. A little earlier, I spoke to Stephen Kinnock, who's a member of Future Britain, a new grouping of centrist Labour politicians set up by the Deputy Leader. I began by asking him if Momentum are right to accuse Mr Watson of wrecking Labour.
Tom Watson is democratically elected by our members. Those that preach about party democracy are showing some hypocrisy by trying in a smoke-filled room to depose somebody that's been democratically elected by our members.
Well, they want the members to have more say, which is legitimate, isn't it?
Well, there is a constitutional arrangements where a leader can be challenged or can stand for election. So if you're going to do these things, you've got to use the democratic process. But the Labour Party wins when it's a broad church, when there are a range of views that can be articulated. And Tom plays a vital role in articulating a tradition in our party, and there has to be room for us to show the British people that we are a broad church, that we can reach out, build a broad base of support, because that's the only way that the Labour Party wins elections, gets into government and changes the country for the better.
What do you think it says about the Labour Party at the moment?
I think that it's a botched attempt, very amateurish, and I think that it doesn't really smack of a party that believes in democracy and in allowing a range of views to come forward at party conference, which is supposed to be when the Labour family comes together, when our community has a dialogue with the country and with itself.
But it is a fight. It is effectively a party at war with itself.
Well, I feel that over the last months and years, we have shown that we are far more united than the deeply divided, most incompetent Tory government in living memory. They are in the midst of a civil war. Why on earth
Well,
we
so
would
are
want
you,
to...
arguably.
Why would we turn our fire back on ourselves when the story is all about Tory divisions? It's absolutely crazy. It's nuts. So let's actually take this opportunity to say this kind of internecine warfare is the last thing the Labour Party needs. Let's expose the Tory incompetence and division.
There is a theory that this whole row has been confected. It's a distraction from the real divisions over Brexit. You are considering supporting a Boris Johnson Brexit deal. Isn't that just giving him a free pass, giving him a lifeline?
Well, my view is we need a deal-enabling bill that can come to Parliament and can then be amended by those who would like to see a second referendum. So either way, we need to see a bill. But we also need to recognise, I think, that a general election under the shadow of Brexit would be disastrous for the Labour Party. It will just be good for the polarisers and the opportunists, in other words, the Liberal Democrats and the Brexit Party. We're a whole nation party. We're about bringing people together, bringing the country back together. We need a general election to get rid of this awful Tory government. But that general election should be about bread and butter domestic policy issues, not a referendum in all but name.
Is it legitimate for Jeremy Corbyn to refuse to take sides on Brexit, to keep his options open in the interest of uniting the country?
I think the big challenge with our current policy is that we're saying we would get a better deal, but then potentially campaign against it. I think the vast majority of our shadow cabinet have said they will campaign for Remain under any circumstances. So I think there are some big holes and question marks in the current policy. I'm not sure it passes the doorstep test